Well, hello there. Welcome back. Today we are enjoying some stories from the subreddit Dating Hell. Let's dive in, shall we? Our first story is titled Too Long, Didn't Read. Man tries to explain to me what intelligent people do, made me watch Minecraft playthroughs, then takes me to steakhouse even though I don't eat meat. Around this time last year I went on a Tinder date with someone from a different university in the same town. His university is kinda known for being a bit more prestigious than mine, and he did some sort of physics while I do linguistics. We went to Spoons for cheap drinks and immediately he started telling me all about how all throughout school he was beat up all the time because he would correct people when they would say things wrong. Then he started talking about advanced physics things and acted upset that I didn't know, even though he knew I didn't study anything close to physics since high school. When I asked him to explain, he would just kind of scoff and smirk, saying never mind, it's not meant for you. He then very kindly told me it must be difficult for me to date since I don't have much to talk about. Which I kindly replied I just don't know random facts about space. This makes him go into this tirade. I feel guilty when I'm dating. You see, I'll explain something that intelligent people do. We tell white lies all the time to make people happy and help them not question things. It would be hard to explain something like that to you though, so I'll leave it be. And he just took a sip of his sparkly unicorn spoons cocktail like he didn't just call me stupid. I was actually stunned. He spent the rest of the time at Spoons asking me girl advice for another girl he was talking to. I was trying to get over someone at the time, so I went to his house anyways, regret lol, and he invited me to cuddle while he watches a video. I sit next to him and have to watch a 40-minute Minecraft playthrough while he responds to all the commentary. To get out of there I told him I was hungry and that I was gonna go eat. He says he knows just the place. It will be a surprise. We get there. It's a steakhouse, no salads or anything, just meat. I'm vegan and he knows this. I deleted Tinder immediately. Our second story is called Too Long Didn't Read, Guy Left Me for Jesus. It's also long, sorry. So I had this guy friend and he was my best friend in my entire world. I could go to this guy for anything and he'd always be there for me. It was an unlikely friendship. I wasn't religious but was interested in pagan beliefs. I had various books of the subject. I just found it so fascinating and still do. He was a Christian, who told me that he came from a long line of pastors, priests, bishops etc. I don't even know the difference. And I never really cared for the Christian faith and found many of its followers that I'd encounter to be some of the worst people I've ever met. Regardless, we were best friends. And then we made the stupid decision to date. When we started dating, one of my friends warned me because he told her that if we ever started dating, he was going to try and convert me. I didn't want to believe that because I truly believed he valued me as a person and respected my stance on religion, but remained cautious. Soon into this relationship he started to distance himself and told me it was because he didn't like the books I had, and wanted me to steer clear of paganism. I told him that his religion actually took many of its practices from paganism, so I don't feel like he should judge it so harshly and assume it's evil or something. He disagreed and wanted to end the relationship unless I get rid of all my books. I was stupid, so I got rid of them and said I'd learn more about his faith so I could understand it more and try to get rid of any harsh feelings I had towards Christians. So I studied his faith, and although I disagreed with a lot of it, I still tried my best to understand why he followed it so deeply. I even tried to patch things up with his father who hated me, but his father told me that he'd never have a good relationship with me, and just being around his son has brought evil into his home. His father had very traditional Christian beliefs, which means he's homophobic and doesn't associate with non-Christians. And he forced these same idealisms onto my boyfriend growing up. He hated homosexuals and believed they were evil, until one of his friends came out as gay. He decided that his father was wrong and became more open-minded about things. Because of this, he thought it was okay to have gay friends and even friend people who weren't Christian, which is what made our relationship possible. But unfortunately it was hard to undo the brainwashing he had done to him as child, so he broke up me. He told me that he believed his task from God was to steer me in the direction of Christianity, but could only take me so far, and now it was up to me to find my own path to God. And that he in good conscience could not be with someone who did not share the same faith as him. He told me that if I see the light and truly find God, then maybe we could salvage our relationship. He also told me that he was going to move to St. Paul to study under his grandfather, who was a minister there, and decide if he should follow in that path, as nearly every man in his family had before him. And while there, he also wanted to date many other women because he felt like he lacked experience, and eventually he would settle down with a woman whose faith was as strong as his, and hoped that maybe it could be me if I could find God. He did not move to St. Paul right away. Instead he stayed right where he was, and he completely cut all ties with me. A part of me thought we could at least be friends, but no, I lost my best friend and boyfriend all at once. And then he started posting homophobic shit again, saying crap like, "I want all my gay friends to know that I love them, but what they're doing is wrong and they will go to hell for it. I hope you all can see the light and stop this behavior." Years later he finally moved to St. Paul and seemed to be developing a better mindset. He unblocked me from everything and sent me a long message apologizing for his behavior. We spoke for weeks, and he made me truly think that he was changing for the better, and even told me that he wanted a relationship with me again. He made me want that too, because I truly believed he was becoming a much better person. But it was a lie. He ghosted me out of nowhere for 2 days and then suddenly started posting pictures of him and his new girlfriend. I honestly didn't even feel sad. I think any feelings I was getting were because I just missed our friendship so much and was overwhelmed to have him back in my life. He told me about his new girlfriend and how incredible she was and she is. She is a lovely, very liberal Christian. He told me that he's very happy to be with her, that she's making him a better man. She got him to go to Pride to support their gay friends instead of criticize them. I was truly happy for him, and so glad he found a girlfriend who could show him how his father's ways were wrong and toxic, that there was another way to be Christian. But then he suddenly left his girlfriend and got engaged to someone his father approved of. Another hardcore, gay-hating Christian from our hometown. His girlfriend was distraught and came to me for help so she could try to understand why he would do this to her. She also told me that the only reason he resumed our friendship and then gushed about her to me was to hurt me. He thought that by giving me hope about a future together and then taking it away would destroy me. And by telling me that he was doing all the things he'd never do with me, with her, then it would hurt me. Telling me that he was willing to change for her but not for me would hurt me. And that's all he cared about doing. He never wanted to be friends again. He only came back into my life to hurt me as much as possible. But he didn't. I wasn't hurt. I was proud that he was becoming a better person, which apparently he wasn't. So I comforted his girlfriend and we figured all of this must be because of his father. His father not liking that his son was dating a girl whose Christian beliefs were different and more progressive than his own. A few weeks later I guess he pulled his head out of his ass, cause he left his fiancée and tried really hard to distance himself from his father's beliefs. After a few months his girlfriend decided to forgive him. I was a little disappointed because I believed she deserved better, but all I could do is hope that she is happy and can help him grow. Now they're married and have a son. He never apologized for intentionally trying to hurt me. And I'm still not religious. Thank you all for reading another horrible dating experience by me. Our third story is entitled, Too Long Didn't Read. Greek unemployed 40 years old catfish wants to give me financial and dietary advices. Hilarity ensued. Hey there. I'm Greek myself, living in Greece, so forgive me for any spelling errors. I'm in my late 20s and I met someone on Bumble. He was average looking, nice clothes, nice places. He looked like a person who liked the finer things like me. I'm not rich by any means, I just try to be fashionable when I can. He called me in the morning to ask me if I'll wear a tracksuit, because he'll wear one. I said no. He came to the date with jeans and white shirt. But he was looking really different. Unkempt, smelly and with two double chins. His Suzuki SUV had seen better days too. He brought me to a neighborhood I didn't like, and I told him it's better to return near my neighborhood, that way he'll be near his own relatives too. They had just invited him for lunch and I wanted to escape. Don't get me wrong, I live in a working-class suburb, but the scenery is way better in mine. I didn't want anything fancy. I just like to spend my hard-earned money in places I find beautiful. He was asking non-stop questions about my job, why I left a job in the airport, if I search to find a better job, if I have a spare house or apartment to give it to Airbnb, etc. Non-stop. Like, excuse me, are you my mother? I think we said it all about me. What about you? I asked him. I'm unemployed 6 months now to COVID. I was in the airport too, with €800 per month. But now I don't want to work. Unemployment benefit is €400 and I have also my mother's pension. I was horrified. Later he told me that he always smokes cigars, with an attitude, and he said, you don't mind if my smoke gets you. Not a question. I mind and changed my seat. He was talking to the phone loudly to his family to buy him souvlaki gyros. And after the call asked me what I had to eat in my place. I said chicken burgers with a salad. You put also bacon and cheese on them. I replied that no, I want to lose weight. My only sin is sweets, and I took a donut from the ones that the cafeteria brought with our coffees. He looked me in disgust and told me that he eats whatever he wants until 7 p.m. and I should do the same. I'm a US size 6'8" and he was clearly more overweight than his pictures, but I should follow his advice. Oh cool. He also asked me if I want a serious relationship or to just have fun. I told him that I don't have much free time in my life to dodge his question. He wanted me to drive me home, but I found an excuse that I had to buy some oranges for my dad and left. I blocked him in every platform and I blocked his number. My mother told me that I should have left when I smelled him and that I should hide in the nearest grocery store, and ask the manager, he's a good friend, to send him away. Our final story for this video is titled, Never Trust People Who Say They're Mentally Stable. Too Long Didn't Read. The mentally stable one who agrees communication is important ends up not communicating or being mentally stable. Also, this is so long, sorry. It was an insane ride. I met this chick on Tinder, and I thought she seemed really awesome and fun. Our first date was a blast and we even made out, which I typically don't like to do so soon. I really liked her. We talked together and I made it clear I was looking for someone who was mentally stable, as all of my past relationships failed because the other person sadly wasn't able to take care of themselves. She totally agreed and disclosed she was on medication and in therapy. Which I said was cool cause self-help. She never said what condition she had though, and I didn't feel the need to pry. She also mentions she was hit by a car recently and is recovering from that. Fast forward 3 weeks, and I get really sick. I hadn't been this sick since I was a kid. Doc tells me I got upper respiratory virus and oral herpes. I confront her and she claims she doesn't have it and gets tested again to make sure. I tell her she could have had it as a kid and now is asymptomatic. Don't seem to believe it's possible she could forget having a cold sore as a kid. I later realized that weird scab she had under her nose when we made out was likely oral herpes. I had never seen it before, so I didn't know what it looked like. Despite all of this, I forgive her and we keep dating. I end up finding out she was adopted, her dad died when she was young, and she has a terrible relationship with her also adopted sister. I also come to realize she is a crybaby, and every time something is even slightly wrong she cries. It really bothers me, but she says it's normal, so I tried to get used to it. 2 months into the relationship, I have to break it off. She doesn't seem to have any significant interests. I discover she has no friends other than an ex-girlfriend who cheated on her several times and had a pregnancy scare that she was ready to give up her life for. Lastly, all she does is tell me I'm attractive and want me to make out with her and do stuff to her that I was definitely not comfortable doing. She instigated all of it and I only went along because I liked her. However, I realized I wasn't sexually attracted to her at all. Again, despite all of this, I decide to stay friends with her as she literally has none, and I felt like she meant well. By this time, she still hasn't gotten help for her injuries from being hit by a car and actively complains about them. This whole time I've been telling her to switch lawyers since they weren't getting her any help. She hasn't. 3rd month, she finally switches lawyers and gets help immediately. Of course doesn't say thanks to me or anything. Stops talking to me about her ex-GF because I don't like her. I don't like cheaters, sorry, but I never tell her to stop being friends with her. I tell her to consult with her therapist over these things. She also starts having problems with things I say. Even if I mean it a different way, she takes it the bad way. Takes everything personally. Seems to have problems with me being white and privileged even though I was born into it and I'm actively trying to educate myself. Also constantly is talking about her feelings, yet says she hates talking about them and says she feels forced by me. Starts to not tell me a lot of things, even though she wasn't even fully honest with me at this point. During this time she goes on a spree sleeping with a bunch of different people. She later claims because she wanted to see if she was into it, but was probably because she was in love with me and I broke up with her. After each one-night stand she cries to me about how she felt uncomfortable and how the other person didn't understand consent. No means stop. Still continues doing it. Month 5. By this time I am no longer enjoying our friendship. I ask her what therapist said about sleeping spree, she says she didn't tell them. Find out she isn't telling her therapist everything. Confesses to me she has bipolar disorder. Would have been helpful to know sooner as I treated her as someone who couldn't control their emotions, not knowing she literally couldn't due to a mental illness. Tells me she felt highly uncomfortable when dating, especially when engaging in makeout sessions etc., and making it sound like I pressured her into it. I felt really hurt by this as she said communication was important but didn't bring this up until months later. Additionally, I didn't want to engage in any activities with her, but she literally told me to do it. Kiss me. Our conversations greatly decrease after this because I'm no longer interested. However, true to my heart, I tell her I'll always be there for her even if our friendship ends. I have a breakdown, the first one since I met her. Big mistake. I go to her. She freaks out and takes everything I say personally, even though I was talking about how bad I was feeling and I was looking for a pick-me-up. Basically attacks me for my feelings and literally couldn't handle any of my minor emotions that I confessed to her for the first time ever. I consider our friendship over at this point since I can't talk to her about my feelings. Month 7. Tells me she's going off her bipolar medications. I ask her if she's okay. Won't talk to me about it. Gets angry and defensive when I insinuate she isn't okay and that I don't believe her. Few weeks later sends me a text saying she doesn't want someone who causes drama and negative influences in her life. I never answer. The end. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to see more videos. Ta-ta for now.